Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This video is going to be all about some various drugstore complexion steps. So we're talking primer through like the blush and the bronzer and all that. I've got a hodgepodge of new drugstore items that kind of follow all those different steps, and I just wanted to put them together and see how they operate. A couple of these things you've seen me use in another video, my primer sticks from Wet n Wild, and then also this Rimmel concealer. But then I haven't had a chance to use on camera yet the Maybelline Super Stay Skin Tint in my proper shade and my NYX Pro Fix Brightening Stick. We got some new bronzer products, so I thought let's just do a complexion focus thing and see how this all works together. So I've already moisturized, got my skincare on, and I'm gonna use my little Cooling Hydra Depuffer for eye and face from Wet n Wild. Subcap is appreciated because these sticks can dry out kind of fast. Oh, it feels so good around the eye area. Yes, it's wake up time. I can use the boost, and y'all, I am declaring a fresh start today. I am declaring a new leaf turned over on this fine Tuesday that I'm sitting here shooting this. I just feel like, you know, it's been a stressful couple weeks around here with Dad being in the hospital. Yay, he wrapped up chemo. Yay, he's cancer free, but just some rough like side effects as a result of all that chemo, but he's out. And it's like, I have this relief feeling, but I feel like my mind is still kind of programmed into kind of a worried state. Do you know what I mean when I say sometimes our minds hold on to problems longer than they have to? And I feel like that's where I'm at. And during that time, I felt like I got very good about, you know, lifting the situation up in prayer and giving it up to God and feeling as positive as I could most of the time. But sometimes there just feels like there's this leftover anxious feeling in me, and I want to let that go. And I also had a hard weekend. I came down with a fever on Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday, I just could not even operate. I was sick. I think this was what was going around on our cheerleading squad. And ever since that, it was like, oh, I only got the laundry half done. I didn't get to meal prep. I didn't get to do these things. And it kind of open my eyes to how glued I am to certain routines. But I don't need to like hang my value on whether or not I complete those routines. I mean, yeah, it helps my week go great when I do things like that, but I can fit it in other times, and I can just be grateful that I'm feeling better now, you know? So yeah, I just need to catch myself in this moment and say, it's time to turn over a new leaf, and it's time to put your positive pants back on, because like I say, every day is a gift, and I want to run into this day with that feeling of this is gonna be a great day, you know? I want to put that mantra back on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna put on this Impossible primer stick. So we did this one and we gave an entire live chat, and now we're gonna put on this Impossible primer stick, the one silicone-free primer stick that does it all, they say. And I feel like I've had really good staying power with stuff when I've put this on, and I would like to see it pair with the Super Stay stuff. And I feel like everybody's talking about that Super Stay foundation, you know, like it's kind of the hot new one. For me, I feel like it's wearing and operating very similar actually to my L'Oreal, the True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I feel like it has really similar staying power and just a similar look on the skin. Don't you guys think, if you've tried them both? But yeah, I just run that primer stick across the skin and then blend it in. It goes across the skin feeling actually a little bit cooling and smooth. There's no like real bad drag with it. I enjoy using that. So now we're gonna go in with this. Again, it's the Maybelline Super Stay 24-hour skin tint plus vitamin C. The shade 120 I feel is the right shade for me. I had like 130 or something like that at first, and there's actually a really big difference between the two. So I'm gonna get a little bit of it up there, and actually I feel like I got a lot bit across my forehead, so I'm gonna stop with what I'm putting on and just kind of smear it around, even it out. And then I think I will go with my e.l.f. Duo brush and just start dabbing this in, dabbing it around. And like I said, I've experienced really good wear time with this, and it really does seem like much more of a foundation than a skin tint, as it's being called. I mean, skin tint or serum is sort of the buzzword, it seems like, with makeup these days. But the coverage on that is undeniably like really good. It's a strong medium coverage. And it may be something you want to find a pump that fits it, because I feel like if I got a more consistent output every time, I would be even more satisfied, because sometimes like I'm putting it on with the dropper and I'm not totally sure how much I'm getting each time across the skin, and I think a pump would help. I ended up finding a pump that fit my L'Oreal True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. So I could probably come up with something that would fit this. But for now, we're just getting it blended in, and you can see how much that evens out the skin and the gentle glow that it gives off. Okay, can you see that on the surface of the skin? If you look really closely at the bottle, you can almost see a little bit of sheen in this product, like if you've got it in your hand and you're looking up really close. And I noticed that about the L'Oreal too. And then on the skin, this is an aspect where I consider these very, very similar. It's not like my skin looks ultra dewy. It's not giving off like tacky to the touch vibes, but there's something about it that's just not fully matte, and it's got just the slightest bit of luminosity going on. So I'm pleased with this. I'm glad I went ahead and got my proper shade, because that can be a huge distraction. I think if you get your foundation and the shade is just not it for you, it can be hard to really assess it well in terms of, well, how well is it covering, or how well do I like the finish on the skin, or whatever, if the shade is off. But this shade feels really on point, and I can tell you it just operates staying power wise a lot like the L'Oreal for me. Next, I want to go in with this NYX Pro Fix Stick. I found this at Walmart, and I got the shade pink, and they did have some skin tone options as well, but I'm always intrigued by a brightener. So I'm going to take this and take this little, it's the size of a slim lipstick, and take it right in the depths of my inner corner, and I'll kind of flick it out here at the outside too. And I've got another concealer that I'm going to be using elsewhere, but the texture on this is really nice. Not dry in the least and not too thick feeling, okay? So it glides across the skin really well. I think I'll go back in with my same brush that I started with. This is my e.l.f. Duo brush, but I'm using the small end, and I'm just pulling that product around a little bit and just shearing it out. And as you can see, this is a really effective brightener. I almost feel like it's a more potent take on the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind brightener. Okay, that one's more of a liquidy consistency, and this is a cream, and I feel like they're very similar brightness levels, but this just seems to cover in an even more intense way. And I don't feel like I have a ton of product on, but I just covered, literally drew it over the top of my darkest zones. And as you're going to see here, it really counteracts that darkness super duper well. And it's not drying either, but it is like an added layer of concealer if you want to add in like a skin tone concealer just for this whole area. I'm not saying you'd have to, but if you wanted to, you know, it can create that extra layer of product. So really make sure you're well prepped with a good eye cream. I use my Vanny cream right around my eye area, so I'm very nicely hydrated here. But I would say that did an amazing job at brightening up an area that not only is a little bit dark on me right in there, but I'm 40, and as I get a little older, there's just a little bit more of a dip in there, like an actual change in the surface level of my skin. It just recedes a little bit, and that in itself can create more of a shadowed look. But if you can get a really effective brightener going on in there, it can sort of reverse that issue. So yeah, hello Tuesday, we are up. The new leaf has been turned over and the brightener has been applied, and the coffee's getting drunk. Then I've got my Multitasker Concealer from Rimmel. This was a Walgreens find. I have the shade 50 Sand, and I've enjoyed this one a lot. It's a relatively thin, full coverage concealer. It's basically Rimmel's take on a Shape Tape. You know, it's the same shape and size looking buckfoot applicator, and I'm just gonna put maybe a little dot of that down in here on that side. I wanna cover some redness because I know I've been red from some nose blowing, and I got a little zit remnant area there, and I think I will also tap it right up there. Okay, so just a small amount of this, because really the most important concealer work to me was really that under eye area, and the NYX did so well. So I'm just spreading this out with my small end of the brush here for a little added brightness, just kind of down this plane of the face. Spread those little dots. It doesn't take a lot. And the Maybelline gave us good coverage to start with, so we're not having to cover a lot of ground here. So I dab it around with the small end. You can dab over it with the larger end just for a little additional buffing there. Spread it out up here. I will tell you another thing that's kind of been an added stress on my mind has been this cheer coaching that I've been doing. And like, you know, it's a competition weekend this weekend. And when I started, like, I don't think I imagined how fully invested I was going to become in this. And it's been great in so many ways. Like my relationships with these kids, I love them so much. Like if I talk about them, it's going to make me cry because I enjoy these kids to pieces for a variety of different reasons. It's like they walk into the gym, it's just hugs, you know. I just love these teams that I work with, but I feel like I shoulder a lot of stress for them too. It's not really bad stress, but it's like a real contrast in feelings from when I was just a parent of the two and going into competitions like, I hope they do good. And now it's like, oh my gosh, I really hope they hit that on the right count and get to their spot fast enough for A, B, and C. I'm just in a whole other intensity mode. And I'm not really calling it bad stress. There's some stress. And I'm one who can just get very obsessed and consumed with things sometimes, and I need to be able to like sit that stress down after practice and then like go about my life and my business, you know? If anyone in my family or anyone who knows me personally is watching this, they know exactly how I'd be about such a thing because they've seen it play out in my old cheer days. But it's really a different vibe from when I did cheer myself because all these little kids, like I want them to do good. I want them to be proud of themselves, you know? I want them to see themselves succeed. And my gosh, it's such a team sport. It's such a group effort, and it's just different from being an athlete on your own and now being fully invested in each of these individuals so much. Each of these 17 girls, each of these 9 girls. It's really crazy. And another thing I've learned too is when you're coaching kids, the same coaching style or the same instructing style does not work for every kid. I'm learning some kids, my child included, Biddy, she honestly does better when she's instructed less. When she's critiqued less, she's less in her head about things and she's more relaxed and she does it better. But when the reverse happens, it's like she gets all up in arms about it. And I can see that play out with various kids. I'm taking my Maybelline Fit Me powder. I don't have a brand new loose powder of any sort. And I'm taking a pretty small amount, but we're keeping with the brightness since this is probably my most brightening loose powder. And I'm just dabbing it on with the Triangle Powder Puff. All I can say is I'm learning a lot. I'm really learning a lot about what makes the whole thing go. And yeah, that looks good. That's just a small amount of powder really, just to make sure my key zones are kind of set for the day, because I just think that helps me quite a bit with my staying power. But the last thing I'll say about cheer is I hope that we as the grown-ups involved, because I'm not the only one, I hope we don't lose sight of the big picture of what we're doing here with these kids. And I mean, I know the nitty-gritty details are important. We're going to competitions. We're being judged. This is a business of competitive cheer. I get that. But I hope we're not losing our big picture focus of encouraging, empowering, lifting up and building confidence. And especially as things get closer to a competition, things can get kind of stressful, things can get kind of intense. Like I want them to think, cheer was fun. You know, cheer was fun today. I liked being there. I just want them to have that takeaway of I enjoyed this. This was good. I love my team. I'm part of a team. I'm important to this team. I want those kinds of things going in there, you know, not just the skills. Okay, I'm done. This is a new thing. I have used this on camera. I've continued to use this quite a bit and I've liked it a lot. These Butter Glow Bronzing Serum drops. The shade is Sunkissed Glow. Shake it up. It's real thin. And I'm pretty sparing with the amount I put on, but it just blends so easily, and I actually really like the tone. So I just kind of go, it doesn't set that fast, but I just focus on one part of my face at a time. And then I just take my Sephora 56 and we just blend it in around the hairline. For some reason, I gotta always get my hand back on my hair. I don't know why. But I really like it, and it doesn't break down what's underneath. I don't put on so much that that's really a risk. It's just subtle and good, and I'm enjoying it. So I pick up a little bit, get that kind of a drop, like it's really dropped on there. And there on that side, I feel like I got almost more than I need, so we'll deposit a little bit over here. But you can really tell more so around the cheekbone than the hairline how nicely that contours me in such a natural, kind of effortless way. And it just sits on the skin looking like, I mean, it does give some glow. Now I need a little more over here because we just got that little leftover dab. There we go. I mean, I'm not really pushing it out of the dropper. I'm just kind of putting on what was on the dropper. Eventually, as I use more and more of it up, I'm sure I will have to drop some on, like squeezing the dropper end. But like, doesn't that look good? Doesn't that look convincing? I dig it. And yes, it does have some glow. You can see it, you know, the little remnants of this that have come up off the brush and up onto the top of the cheek. Light catching. It's pretty. I'm a fan. Thoroughly impressed with the complexion thus far. I think the biggest keys, I very much enjoyed the Superstay, but this might be the thing that's been wowing me most. That brightness in the inner corner is just bomb. We've got a couple of kind of powder options to talk about here. I think I'll discuss this first. The Physicians Formula Butter Glow Bronzer Plus Blush. I don't think this has enough pigment in it to be a blush. I think it's a light, glowy, highlighter bronzer type of thing. It's very similar to something that I do enjoy from Estee Lauder, the Bronze Goddess compact here. This is called the Healthy Glow Bronzer in the shade 01 Sunrise. Got that same mosaic kind of idea, only a little more intense with the peachiness on here. If you swatch all the shades and compare them, I was up here doing this last night. The Estee Lauder one is just a little bit deeper, all in all. They're very similar on the level of shimmer, but the Physicians Formula is just all in all lighter. I think of it as a soft, sort of bronzy toned highlight. Let's call it that. I think that might be the right way to word it. So if I took just a powder brush and went over all of it, it's not like that little part there is looking like blush. It's just not. It's too soft and light, okay? A little bit peachy toned, maybe a peachy toned highlight, but I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and kind of graze it across the skin. And I think we're gonna see just a little more luminous vibe just going over the whole mosaic. It almost makes you think of sort of like an hourglass powder. It's not ultra glowy, but if you went into like this shade with a Real Technique setting brush, you would have a more pinpointed highlight. You know what I mean? It's the mixing of all of it that makes it more subtle across the skin. But think like soft focus glow. And then you're thinking, what about blush? Well, I went to the Family Dollar. We have a new Family Dollar combo Dollar Tree store in town, and I got this from the Family Dollar side. LA Colors Just Glow. I don't know if they're selling this at Dollar General. I have not seen it there yet. And at first, at a glance in the store, I thought it would be blush, bronzer, highlight. But getting it home and swatching them, these are definitely kind of earthy tone blushes. They are not bronzers. And then got 4 different highlights over here. So I thought I'd just play with a couple of these today. Let's go to this pinky shade right up here. Both of these blushes look matte, ooh, and really intense with one dab in. Hi, Chihuahua. Okay. So there's like one streak of it on. Let's blend. I'm very impressed with that pigment. Trying to keep it kind of high. I would say watch yourself on this because this is a very pigmented blush. That's with only one dab in and tapping off the excess. Let's try the other side. One dab in, tap off excess, and I could see the excess coming off. I would say it's a really fresh color. It makes me think of kind of a spring vibe, both of those shades. It'll be fun to test out the coral on another day. But I like that. They're definitely matching the intensity of the L'Oreal Infallible matte blushes. And then let's go into a highlight. Let's just do this one right here. Looks like it's gonna be pretty brightening. Ooh. Oh darn, was I in focus there? I put it right here. It seems really brightening. And I'm not seeing a bunch of particles either. Like it's seeming quite smooth. I'm kind of liking the placement of highlighter being right under the eye, like not close under the eye, but down here. And then we're just blending any excess outward that might still be on the brush. Loving. That's that shade right there. Get a little on. Right here. She's dazzling. I love this, guys. Wow. Okay, so this is our complexion with these various new drugstore products. Let's rank them. Number 1, favorite. Very impressive. It accomplished a hard task, I feel. I really love how brightening this is. I like the texture of it. My words of advice would be moisturize well underneath and blend well. Make sure it's fully blended out, especially if you intend to layer on top of that any other kind of concealer. I think you really want to get that blended out well so things don't look dry on top. And that would go for any time you're using like brightener paired with concealer. More products on the under eye, you need to be very mindful of how well you blend them out. But I think that's super impressive. That worked very well with my skin tone and very effectively took away darkness. So that's my number one. This is my number two, and this is my read on this after quite a few days of testing this out. Impressive staying power, really nice, strong medium coverage across the skin. This has been a super fun product for me, and I've been very impressed by how beautiful this actually looks on the skin and what a nice, gentle contour it gives. I gotta rank this number 4, but this is still like, we're all in thumbs up mode right now. This LA Colors palette is loaded with pigment, so use carefully, use gently. I'm excited to go into some of those more earthy blushes too. Honestly, I've really been enjoying this concealer too from Rimmel. I wouldn't say it's like obviously head and shoulders above other drugstore concealers that I have. I would probably still favor e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer over this as far as drugstore concealers of this coverage level. Still like it, still think it's good. We'll continue to have it in the rotation. It's on the thumbs up end of things, as are these primer sticks. You know, good, maybe not as obviously wowing me as some of these other things, but I still really enjoy using them. My least fave in the video, the least essential, the thing I could definitely kind of take it or leave it, this from Physicians Formula. Seeing as I already had a product that was a lot like this is all right, but it's just not like, oh, I had to have that product on my skin today. It made all the difference. I'm not having that feeling about it. That's really the focus of today's video. I will go ahead and finish the face and then show you how it all comes together with a finished eye and lip before I sign off. So I finished up this look. It's pretty basic. I used this Laura Geller quad on my eyes. It's the Baked Eyeshadow Quad in Pink Buttercream. It was fashioned after the Pink Buttercream blush, and it just gives you a real, like, I don't know, easy natural look. I didn't use a lot of shimmer except in just the innermost corner. Otherwise, I just kind of went between those two shades and I thought it looked kind of nice. I'm wearing my Neutrogena Healthy Lengths mascara. I've been really hitting a sweet spot with this mascara lately. I like the way it's building. And then on my lips, I used my Bobbi Brown. This is the extra lip tint in the shade Bare Raspberry. So it's giving me that like soft reddish look, and for a little added gloss and moisture, I pulled in my Hard Candy Glosstopia. This is in the shade Deep Desire. So yeah, friends, that's my finished look. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little roundup and ranking of some new drugstore face products, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.